Have you noticed the pattern? It's late. Your phone lights up with a familiar storm. Someone you care about is spiraling again. You feel the tug inside your chest, like a fisherman's line hooked behind your ribs, reeling you out of your own life and into theirs. In a second, you're out of bed, typing solutions, offering rides, promising you'll call, you'll show up, you'll fix it. You don't even ask whether they want help. You already know your role. You are the steady one, the strong one, the rescuer. But after the adrenaline fades, something quiet stings. You're exhausted, maybe a little resentful. Maybe you realize they're not changing, and you're not sleeping. Why do you keep doing this? Why can't you stop? According to Jung, this is not a failure of kindness. It's a pattern of the soul. He would say there is an archetype moving in you, the healer. A beautiful force, yes, but one whose shadow can turn care into control, love into rescue, presence into martyrdom. Jung would invite you closer, not to scold you, but to show you something sacred, the wound behind the impulse. Let's start right where it happens, in the small, ordinary moments when that hook lands in your heart. Someone says, "I messed up again." Someone posts a cry for help. Someone hints they're drowning, and that quiet rescuer inside you leaps. Jung would call this a complex, a living knot of memory and feeling charged with the electricity of the past. It's like a doorway that swings open before you know it's there. You step through, and you are 5, 7, 10 years old again. You remember it in your body, chaos in the room, tension in the air, adults sinking, and the child inside you believing, if I am good enough, strong enough, useful enough, I can save them. That child is still trying. Here is the practical turn. When that hook lands, pause. Not forever, just 90 seconds. Put your hand on your chest. Breathe slow. Ask 3 simple questions. Was I asked? Is this mine? And what happens to me if I say yes? If you can, wait the length of a song before you reply. This is not abandonment. This is a boundary with a heartbeat. If the answer still feels like love and not fear, you can respond. If it tastes like panic, like proof, like I need to be needed to exist, let the message rest. You are allowed to be well. Now Jung would show you another layer. The persona, the mask we wear to belong. Yours might be the good one, the answer, the reliable son. People orbit you because you radiate competence. But a mask that never comes off becomes a skin that doesn't breathe. The shadow that grows behind that persona is a fear you rarely say out loud. If I stop helping, I'll disappear. No one will stay. Here's a gentle counterspell. Choose one place in your week to be completely useless. Let someone else carry the bag. Say yes to receiving help you don't strictly need. This is not laziness. It is medicine. It lets the self behind the mask take a breath and learn a radical truth. I exist even when no one needs me. There is a reason you keep choosing partners and friends you can fix. Jung would say you're not only loving them, you're loving a part of yourself through them. Projection is not an insult, it's a mirror. You cast your unloved wound onto someone else's life and then try to rescue it there because it feels too tender to hold inside your own hands. You are drawn again and again to the same story, fragile, chaotic, brilliant, broken. You think, if I can save them, the past will finally end. But the past doesn't end that way. It repeats. Try this. When you feel that lightning bolt attraction, especially to someone who is always in crisis, pause and ask the mirror questions. What in them is begging to be tended in me? What am I chasing that I once needed and didn't receive? Where am I hoping to rewrite a childhood scene by playing every part but my own? Write the answers down. See if you can give even 10% of that tenderness inward before offering 90% outward. Notice how the chemistry shifts when you are no longer starving. Jung knew the healer archetype is holy, but every holy thing has a shadow. The shadow of the healer is the savioress, or savior, compulsively helpful, secretly superior, always on duty. It feels safer to stand one rung above. If you are the rescuer, you are not the one who needs rescuing. You get to be the shore, never the sea. But superiority is just fear in a costume. The bravest sentence the healer can say is also the simplest. I trust your path. Practice it in low-stakes moments. A friend forgets something, and you don't rush to fix it. A colleague is learning, and you don't snatch the wheel. You stand beside, not in front. You become a witness more than a warden. This does not mean coldness. It means respect. Respect for their psyche, respect for your own limits. Respect for the mystery that grows people more than control ever can. Sometimes the rescuer pattern doesn't show up in daylight. It arrives in your dreams. You're in a burning house, pulling everyone out, exhausted, smoke in your lungs. Or you're in a sinking car, trying to lift a door that will not budge. Jung would say the images are speaking a symbolic language. The house may be your life. The car may be a direction you can't control. The figures you're saving might be parts of you you've abandoned, frightened, furious, small or brilliant pieces locked in a basement of your own heart. A simple dream ritual. Keep a pen by your bed. If a rescue dream visits you, write it quickly with sensory detail. Then draw one frame from it. Bad art is perfect art, and ask softly, who in this picture is me? What in this house, this car, this ocean needs my presence more than my performance? You might notice the dream turns you around. Instead of dragging others to shore, you sit with the soaked child on the sand. Instead of prying the car door, you realize you're still wearing the seatbelt from an old story, and it's time to unclip. There's a quieter scene we rarely admit. When you stop rescuing someone, you feel abandoned. Even if they don't leave, a draft moves through your chest like a door opened somewhere. Why? Because the person who leaves when you set a boundary isn't them. It's the child inside you who learned that love equals labor. Jung would call it a complex again, alive, autonomous, with its own weather. You can't argue a storm away. You can shelter with it. Try the smallest shelter. Place your hand on your belly. Speak to the child directly, the way you wish someone had spoken to you. You don't have to earn your right to be carried. I will not disappear if you rest. Then, choose one act of care for yourself that requires nothing of you. A long shower with the door locked. A slow walk without your phone. Tea that you drink before it cools. These are not rewards. They are rights. You are allowed to receive. Now, let's talk about the spiritual edge of this work. The line between compassion and control. Jung loved the symbol of the container, a vessel that holds without gripping. Healthy help has edges. It's warm, but it doesn't leak your life into other people's losses. Unhealthy help is heat without shape. It burns you both. You can feel the difference in your breath. Compassion with edges feels like exhale. Control feels like holding your lungs tight. Here's a practice for edges. Before you say yes to helping, write a single sentence that marks the shape of your offering. I can drive you to the appointment at 2 and I'll need to leave by 3. I can listen for 15 minutes, then I need to eat. If the request grows teeth, if it bites into the edges, notice it. You are learning where you end and another begins. That line is not a wall, it's a shoreline. Life happens there. When you're caught in the rescuer loop, notice the secret reward. It's not just feeling needed, it's avoiding your own abyss. If your hands are full of everyone else's emergencies, you don't have to touch your emptiness, your loneliness, your unlived life. Jung would not shame you for this. He would simply invite you to sit beside the abyss, not fall in, not run away, just sit. Bring a blanket, bring a book, Bring the part of you that always wanted quiet. Sometimes the abyss isn't a threat. It's an opening. At this point, I want to ask you something. Has the rescuer in you ever helped you avoid your own pain? What did you do instead of feel? Share one honest sentence in the comments. No confessions, just clarity. And if this conversation is helping you untie a knot you've carried for years, tap like so this reaches someone who needs it, and subscribe so you don't miss what we're unpacking next. There is a beautiful paradox here. The more you rescue others from their own storms, the less you believe they can swim. And the less you trust them to swim, the more you must always be in the water. You never come to shore. The healer archetype becomes soaked and shivering. Jung would gently turn you toward a different archetype, the steward. The steward doesn't live in the flood. The steward builds the lifeboat before the storm and teaches people to row. The steward trusts timing, trusts consequence. Trusts that pain is a teacher, not only a threat. When you shift from savior to steward, your help becomes truer. It multiplies without burning you down. Try this experiment for 1 week. When someone brings you a problem, ask 3 questions before you offer anything. What have you already tried? What do you want the outcome to be? How can I support you without taking this away from you? Listen, you will hear whether they want a lifeboat or a lifeguard. Offer the boat first. But what about emergencies? What about the real drowning? Of course you jump in. Of course you call, you drive, you show up. The point is not to harden. The point is to discern. Jung's work is not an excuse to look away. It's a way to look with vision. To know your yes from your fear, your care from your compulsion. Let's turn inward once more. The golden shadow, Jung's term for the parts of yourself you admire in others but refuse to claim, hides inside the people you rescue. You see their potential and fall in love with it, because it is your own. You try to midwife their talent while leaving yours unborn. What if, this week, you did one thing they won't do for themselves? Only you do it for you. That song you keep hearing but won't write. That class you won't take because someone else might need something from you at that hour. That morning you keep gifting away. Rescue your own morning. See what happens to the rest of your life when you do. There's a final image I want you to hold. Imagine your life as a chapel with stained glass windows, each window a color of your soul. For years you have propped the front door open so anyone could come in at any hour, lay their pain on the pews, and leave lighter. You sat in the dark and never lit the candles because light attracts more people, more needs, more midnight knocks. But a chapel is built to be illuminated. Close the door, just for a while, strike a match. Watch the colors ignite on the walls. This is not selfishness. This is consecration. When the light is on in you, your help, when offered, will come from radiance, not depletion. Jung would not ask you to stop caring. He would ask you to care cleanly. To let your love be a river with banks, not a flood. To let the healer in you become wise. To heal first where your hands can reach. Your own heart, your own breath, your own abandoned rooms. If tonight the phone lights up again, try this. Feel the hook. Name it. Breathe. Ask your 3 questions. Decide with your whole body. If you go, go as a steward with edges. If you stay, stay with tenderness for the child who fears disappearing. In both choices, choose presence over panic. Choose love that doesn't require you to vanish. And when you wake tomorrow, before you check on anyone else, check on the dream that asked for you. The one you keep rescuing in other people. Ask it to breakfast. Ask it what it needs. You may notice something beautiful. The world keeps spinning without your constant intervention, and your life, for the first time in a long time, begins to breathe. You are not abandoning anyone. You are returning to the one person you were always responsible for. And from that place, steady, lit, alive, your help becomes what it was meant to be, a gift, not a sacrifice.